Hey everybody, welcome back to another design tutorial in Adobe XD, and today we will be designing this cool user interface in Adobe XD. This is a water tracking application, so whenever you drink water you record it in this and you can achieve your daily goal by completing 8 glasses. As you can see, there are 0 glasses right now. We can see our history by clicking here. See how I animated the entire thing using auto animate, and it looks clean and it looks pretty cool. You can see how many glasses you drank the last day, and you can see the history of all the the glasses that you drank, when you drank those glasses, and also indicates it in this drop function. And we won't have to leave Adobe XD. Everything will be designed here. If I click this, I can add how many glasses I've drunk. So if I just had 1 glass, I can just add 1 glass, or 5 glasses, and just add that glass and it'll record it here. Shows how much time is left. I hope you like this concept. So without further ado, let's get started to design and prototype this application. Here is a new project, and I've added this iPhone 10 and 10s artboard, which the dimensions are 375 in width, 812 in height. So first of all, before we even get started with the UI, let's set out the grid, which is going to be 2 columns. The gutter width is going to be 334, the column width is going to be 20, and the spacing here will be 0. So there is no space between the edges and the actual gutter. So now what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to use a rectangle to place a square. So while holding shift, I am going to expand this, and I will put this on the top here. Perfect. Now I will remove the border here, and I will give this the primary blue color. By the way, I will be giving the XD file down in the description for you guys to download, so go ahead and check that out. I will reduce this opacity to about 10%. See how subtle this background is. You can set it to say 8% or 5% depending on how subtle you want the background to be. So right now we're just leaving it at 5%, and this is at the top. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to design the little drop that we have. That is like the primary aspect or primary asset of our design. So I'm just going to draw a little circle here. Let the circle be about 160 by 160 pixels. Perfect. I'm just going to lock this down. And to draw a drop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click this circle to reveal the anchor points. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to drag the topmost anchor point up. Just hold shift and just keep dragging it till a certain point, which is here. Now this is a round, it looks like an egg right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm double click again, and I'm going to double click this anchor point itself. Perfect. See how it now looks like a drop? I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to remove the border, and I will give it the primary blue color, but I won't fill it. So I'll just remove the fill, and the border has to be the primary blue. I'm just going to drag it in. Yeah, set. I'll give it a 20 pixel width. Okay, this is a little too much. 10 pixel will do just fine. And I'm going to round the edges, and I'm also going to click on this option here, which rounds the corners as well. So that seems pretty nice, and I'm going to put this bang in the center of this square. Perfect. I'm just going to duplicate it by dragging it out and holding option. Perfect. I'm going to scale it down just a little bit. I'll hold shift and I'll just make it a little smaller so it comes up like this. Perfect. Now that I've centered this inner drop, what I'm going to do is I am going to draw a square. This will be the indicator, this will be the wave that is inside the water droplet. So I'm just going to give this the primary blue, and I'm gonna shift it to 50% opacity. And I'm gonna put it at the back, make sure it's at the back and this is at the front. I'm gonna select both of these, the little drop as well as the square. I'm gonna go to Object and I will say Mask with Shape. Perfect. Now this looks like a filled drop. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double click and select this rectangle which is masked. I'm just gonna drag it down just a little bit. Perfect. Now this seems like an empty drop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly draw indicators which will indicate how much water you have drunk. I hope that sounds right though. Primary blue, yes. I'll give it a blue shadow as well. So let me just drag it here and select this blue. That's perfect. This is basically the base. This is 0. And I will create a text box and say 0. The font that I'm using here is Cerebri Sans. This is a primary, this is the primary font and also a premium font. So I will give it down in the description. You'll have to pay for it, but you can use fonts like SF San Francisco, or you can also use something like Noto Sans, which you can find for free in the Google fonts. And I'll give this the primary blue color again. And let me give it this, I've saved this font style, which is Cerebri Sans, 24 points, and this is a semi-bold. Just gonna center it out. Perfect. Now as you can see, there's 0, and at 0, this is the indicator. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate this indicator and just shift it 20 pixels up and just shift it slightly to the right like this. Perfect. And I'll remove the shadow. I'll give it a 10 pixel width and also round the corners. Let me give this a 5 pixel width. Perfect. This is better. And a 50%, how about a 25% opacity? Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. We'll go with this style, and I'm gonna say Option, just hold Option and drag it and remove. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold Shift and just shift it to the right a little bit, maybe a little less. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Now I'm gonna drag it again and just duplicate it and shift it 20 pixels up. And I'm gonna drag it in again. Perfect. Just keep shifting it to the right, 5 pixels to the right every time. Wait a second. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And again, I'm gonna copy this over and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, perfect. Just keep doing this. I might fast forward this part just so that you don't have to get bored. Okay, I'm just gonna shift these by holding Shift and the left arrow so that it's much closer to the drop. Let me also do this with this, same with this. Yeah. Perfect. This is how it looked in our prototype. I'm just gonna lock this background in by saying Command L. Perfect. And I'm gonna just group this entire drop by saying Command G and selecting everything. Perfect. Now we have the drop which is ready, and the next thing what we'll do is we'll create the list of the history of various days when we drank water. So for that, what I'm going to do is I will create little boxes which shall be 62 by 62 pixels. 62. Perfect. And I'm going to round the corners by saying 10. Yeah, the round radius is going to be 10, and we'll select primary blue color. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this drop over and like such, and I will fill it with white. This is the pound FFFFF And I'm just going to remove the border, and I will make it much smaller. That is absolutely perfect. And I will give it a round background, the drop. So I'll create a circle, remove the border, and say 40% opacity. Perfect. And let me just center this out. Now that looks beautiful. You can set it to 25 again, whichever one feels more comfortable. And I'm gonna group these together. Now comes the easy part. I'm just gonna put in the text, let's say yesterday. Perfect. And I'm gonna give this 12-point style, Cerebri Sans regular 12 pixels. And I will reduce the opacity to 50% and bring this slightly closer to the box. Let's align this like this and say, just hold shift and say right. Perfect. I'm gonna copy this over again here so that I don't have to type it again. I'm gonna say 6 glasses, and I'm gonna give this blue 20, this 18-point style, and increase it to 100% opacity, and just center it out. Perfect. Now what I have to do is again copy this yesterday over to the bottom, and here I will give it a 12-point blue and reduce the opacity to 50%. And I'll say 2 glasses left. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, so I didn't drink, I had to drink 2 more glasses, but I didn't do that. So I'm just going to group this entire so as to say hierarchy here and say Command G. I'm just going to create a repeat grid. Here's the repeat grid. If I click on it and drag it out, you can see it spaces everything perfectly. Perfect. Yeah, that is absolutely perfect. If you want, you can reduce the spacing like such. I'm gonna reduce it to 10 pixels. Perfect. And just drag it out again like this. That is perfect. I'm just gonna ungroup the grid here so that we have various groups here. Perfect. This is just how we had it before. And what is left is the indicator and the button. So we have to indicate how much water is left for today and how much time is left for you to achieve that goal. So 0 out of 8 glasses left, and we'll say after this we will say 20 hours left. Perfect. Now let me make this the primary blue color, and also the 18-point font. Perfect. And we will place it at the center of the square or the page. Let me just center it out. Oops. Okay, yeah. And here you go. And I'll place it slightly below the drop. Perfect. Perfect. Now what I have to do is create a button, which I have already created so that you don't have to go through the entire design process. And I will place it at the center here. Perfect. Just gonna push this over a little bit. And perfect. See how the button complements the blue as well, and slightly contrasting as well. And I'm just gonna right click and say ungroup the symbol, because this is a symbol, and the button is here. So I'm just gonna group this entire button, and that is the first page UI. Let's move on to the second page UI. I'm just going to name this artboard home. The second artboard will be the history. So basically I will select the artboard and say Command D to duplicate it. And I will now create a wave. I'm gonna click on the edge with the pen tool and bring it right here. And let's just create a rectangle first, which will cover the entire page. Perfect. Now I am going to double click on this and I'm going to add an anchor point in the middle somewhere here. And I'm going to double click on it so that it becomes rounded. And I'm just going to make like a wave. I'm just going to drag these out. Perfect. That looks absolutely like a wave, not yet. I'm going to fill this with white. I'm just going to remove the border, and primary blue is what we're going for. If you drag this entire thing to the bottom, it flattens out. See how the wave just flattens out? That is beautiful, by the way. Now that element is there. If we go to the artboard, we can see there is the path 28. I'm just going to rename this to the wave. Perfect. And name this expanded. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to copy this. First of all, I'm going to expand it. I'm going to copy the wave and copy it over here. You can't see it, but it's at the bottom. And if I come here, if I select the wave, just zoom in. Yeah, okay. So I can't really drag it here, but I'm going to drag these anchor points like this. And I'm going to expand it. Wait. Okay. So I'm going to make the height 400. And that is a little wonky here, but I'm just going to expand it as such here. Perfect. And this is distorted a little bit, so I'll just edit this out and I'm going to create the wave again. Perfect. Yeah, and I'm just gonna increase the size to the top so it comes to the top like this, and that is perfect. If I go to the assets panel again, I can see the back symbol. I'm going to drag it right here, place it at the corner alongside these lines, and bring it 20 pixels from the top. So the y-axis will be 20. Maybe 40. Perfect. Now that I have that background, I will say Command L and I will lock this out so that I can't really do anything with it. And I will copy this drop here. Copy, paste. You can't see it, but I will convert this color into white. Just change it to white. Perfect. See how everything is changed? This will have to indicate 6 glasses because we drank 6 glasses on this particular day, and I will drag this 6 points up like this. Perfect. I'm just going to drag this 6 as well closer to the edge here. Perfect. Now that looks beautiful. One more thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this card layout over here, copy and paste, and I will first of all change this background to a white, a basic white, and reduce the opacity to 20 pixel to 20%. And I'm going to increase the size here a little bit. Just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna delete this entire background, and I'm just gonna leave this circular white here. Perfect. The yesterday will have to be white now. And 6 glasses has to be white again, and the third text, 2 glasses left, will be white again. Perfect. That looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I will bring it closer to the job, right about here. Perfect. And I will place these glasses that I've saved as a symbol again here. Absolutely perfect. This is again a symbol. It indicates how many glasses you drank. Now I will draw a line just below this, which will divide our sections, and I will convert this to white, 0.05 in size. Okay, 0.5 in size, and reduce the opacity to 50%. So this is a subtle line which will divide this area, this portion from our actual content right here. Let me drag it to the top and 20 pixels below that. Perfect. A little more maybe, yeah, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to drag these records here from here to here. Absolutely perfect. And I'm going to place them 20 pixels below this line. 20 pixels below this line. And I'm going to convert all of these to white. Just switch. Fill is white. Perfect. And rather than saying 6 glasses, I will say a particular time. So 9 a.m. I drank a glass at 9 a.m. So there's the first glass. Perfect. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this as well. I'm going to center both of these out. Perfect. That is a perfect indication. I will then select this entire group and say repeat grid once again like we did before, and just bring them down like this. And I'm going to reduce the spacing again by saying 10. Perfect. Maybe a little more, because we already have a lot of spacing between these the groups of items. So I'm just going to reduce it to 0. Perfect. And I'm just going to drag it down here. Again, perfect. I will ungroup this grid so that they're individual items. And as you can see, we can just change each of these from first to second glass, and I had that at 10 a.m. and so on and so forth. One more thing that I'd like to add to this user interface that we have created is adding the glasses. So adding the record, keeping pace with how much water we've drunk. So I'm gonna choose this home and I'm gonna copy it over here. So there'll be a total of 3 screens that will identify various user interfaces. Okay, so there'll be a total of 3 screens here. The last screen will basically be adding the water. So what I'm going to do here is, again, I'm going to draw this wave here. Just going to make a rectangle first. And perfect. And I am going to fill this with this slight primary orange color, which I have set earlier behind the button, of course. Okay, so yeah. Okay, wait a second. Let me bring it to the top, and I'm going to rotate this button because at this in this artboard the button will be across. So first of all, I'll rotate it 360 like this, so this portion isn't hidden, and I will rotate this add icon and make this a close icon. Perfect. I'm gonna make this much smaller as well. Wait a second. Okay. I'm gonna group this out and I'm gonna make this much smaller in size as well. Just put it to the edge and perfect. Now this looks like a little cross, which will close this portion, and I'm gonna make this away by double clicking the top anchor point and just moving these around. Perfect. I'm gonna give this a much lighter orange for now. Yeah, okay. Wait a second. Yeah, this is perfect actually. And I'll bring these glasses, these beautiful glasses that we've created right here. And I'm gonna ask the user a question. The question says, how much water did you drink? Question. And the font will be 18 points. Just put it to the left as such. You can increase it to again 24 points if you want, but I'm just keeping it even and giving it this font. Perfect. And I will, first of all, I will ungroup the symbol and I will make these the same opacity as this, which is 50%. Perfect. So I will select all these and say 50%. And so right now by default it's just one glass. You can increase it. And I've also added this as a symbol, this add glasses button, which I know is a little large. So I'm just gonna reduce the size, ungroup the symbol, and reduce the size for this. Perfect. Just gonna center this font a little bit. Perfect. We'll group this and put it here. So now that if somebody selects the glasses, he can add it and it'll show up here. So for that, we'll just have to duplicate this, say Command D, and you can see we duplicated it, and here we will make all of these opaque, and on clicking add glasses, it should make this it should just hide this portion out, which is all of these glasses, this button and the background as well, and say Command H. Oops, okay, that wasn't Command H, it just closed my window, sorry. So I'll right click and I'll just say hide. Okay, I'm just gonna hide this as well. That was a little hiccup today. So I'm just gonna bring this rectangle to this portion. This indicates one glass. I'm gonna change this from 0 to 1. Bring it up a little bit so that it indicates some movement. Perfect. Okay, the screens are set. All we have to do now is prototype it. Select prototype on top here. And on selecting this, we will expand it to this card. We will say auto animate, tap, ease out, and 0.6 seconds. You can reduce it to 0.5 or 0.4. I'm just gonna say 0.5 for right now. And on clicking this orange button, it should bring up this. Tap, auto animate, ease out. Here we will say 0.2 seconds. And on closing, we shall come back here, auto animate. So we'll set that for both. And on add glass, we will add a glass here. Perfect. One thing that we forgot to do, you and me both, is increase the size again, bring this back to the state it was, which was, let me just see, 64 by 64. Just gonna make this 64 by 64 again. 64. Oops. Okay, 64 by 64. Perfect. I'm just gonna rotate this X to make it a add sign. Perfect. Just gonna place it right where it was, as such. And that's perfect. This app is now complete. All we need to do is test it out. So click on this and click on the preview button here. You can see here, if I click on this, it'll expand it, and as you can see, we have the record of how many glasses we've drunk and when we drank those glasses, and like this little indication. We didn't say prototype this. Okay, let's click on the preview and let's see how it came out. If I click on this, it shall expand from a wave into this expanded view. And if I go back and if I want to add a glass, if I drank a glass of water, it should say, okay, I drank 1 glass of water, fine, perfect, add glass, and it'll just add the glass for you. I hope you liked that video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and smash that bell icon as well so that you see my videos first. Also, hit that like button if you did. Design tutorials every single freaking week. So keep watching, stay tuned, and I will see you guys in the next one.